Alright, so I'll be showing you how to use the app. So once you land on the home page, you're gonna switch tabs to create report, and here we have the option to upload files. We can drag and drop, or we can click browse files here. So I have a sample data set that I'll be dragging and dropping here, and then I can create my report by clicking on this button, and then the app is gonna run for a few seconds. In this case, it's a good size data set, so we have like 3,000 rows. So, but that should take no longer than 5 seconds, and we this generates our HTML report that we can see on the main screen, or we can also download by clicking on this button. And the report is going to have a few sections. So here we have an overview, and we can see that the data set has 19 columns. It has near 3,000 rows. It's got some missing data, and we can see the percentage of data that we're missing. And here is showing the variables that some of them are numeric, we have categorical, and we have text, as well as dates. And then we can keep scrolling down, and the report is very thorough, so it's gonna break down by column, and we're gonna get a statistical summary. So we will find how many distinct values there are, what percentage of the data is missing, what's the minimum, what's the maximum, as well as distribution here on a histogram. And depending on the observation type, the the plot that we're gonna be able to see here. So we could go and select each of the variables or columns on the data set, and those are gonna be shown there, or we can continue to scroll down, and we can see the same statistical summary for each of them. So we can see here, for example, the sales distribution, and again the minimum and the maximum, and the order dates. And if we keep scrolling down, we can see so the text is gonna be shown as word clouds. So in this case, it might not be very useful, but yeah, so the product code that appears the most seems to be this one here. And so we can see the customer names and address. Here we can also see the frequency, which is the address that shows up the most, whether they're missing values or not. Well, the city that seems to appear the most is Madrid, and then we have New York City there, and we also get a breakdown by state. So essentially, any of the variables that are included in the data set are gonna be analyzed, and depending on the data type, we're gonna get a different chart. Here we see the last names, the ones that appear the most. So this is sample data, so don't worry about, I'm not showing any um, private information. And so most of the deals seem to be medium. And if we keep scrolling down, eventually we get to this section where we can see the interaction between the numerical variables. Um, so unfortunately my screen is a little bit too small, but you can select, you will be plotting one of them on the x-axis and one of them on the y-axis. So for example, you can plot order number against quantity order, and you're going to be able to see how those variables affect each other. And lastly, we have the correlations. So we get a matrix here showing if there's a correlation between the variables, and we can either see it in a heat map, or we can see it as a table. So in the heat map, we're going from -1 to 1. So we have our negative and positive correlation. And so obviously, for example, there's gonna be a very strong correlation between state and country. Um, in this case, this wouldn't be insightful at all, but depending on the data that you have, you might discover how if there is a positive or negative correlation between your variables. And okay, so we also have missing values, and here we can see which are the columns that have the greatest number of missing values. So in this case, this is address line 2, and state also seems to be missing half of the time. So by just uploading the data set and clicking one button, we will get a good overview of what our data set is like. We could upload a CSV or an Excel file, and potentially you can also, if you have a database, you can run a SQL query against your database, extract a sample or extract the entire data set, and pass it through this app so you can get an understanding, an overall understanding of what your data is like and whether there are issues that you should be addressing or not. And there's one more part here. So at the very top, if you click on alerts, so you're gonna get these alerts which highlight potential problems or things to pay attention to. So initially, it's telling us where when do we have a high correlation between variables. We also getting alerts that on the variables that have missing values, and so that's pretty much it. But as you can see, this is very fast. If you were to try to do the same thing using an LLM, that would probably take a bit longer. And by simply uploading the data here and at the click of a button, you can get this. It's a very thorough report, and you can download it and you can share it. So you can download it to your local machine and then extract whatever you need from there and share it with whoever you have to share it. So yeah, essentially that's how you use it.